Turquoise rose. I would like to ask you now how you are feeling and what you are seeing.
I feel like I'm slowly falling into a space of yellow.
A space of yellow. Wonderful. So, do you feel like you're falling kind of into a vortex or a tunnel? Is it fast or slow?
It's very slow and light and
Mm.
like if a feather were falling. It's
Oh,
slow
yes.
and careful. And I feel like
Mm.
the weight and movement of gravity around me is non-existent, but also existent because I'm moving downward, but so slowly, like
You're drifting.
drifting.
Yeah. Yeah. So just enjoy that feeling. It's so safe, drifting down into this yellow space. It feels free. And you are
Very
going,
relaxing.
yeah. And you are going to a place that has all the answers to all of the questions that we are curious about. And what does the yellow signify, I wonder? What does it feel like to you, the color?
Warmth. I,
Mm.
I was told love signifies love.
Mm.
Peace.
Love and peace.
Yeah,
Yeah, wonderful. So are
almost
you being like,
sunshine,
go ahead, like sunshine?
like sunshine. Like I feel the energy of like hippies. No worries.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Wonderful. Does it feel like you have a destination, or this is the destination to sit in this yellow, sunshiny, loving space?
Mm, no, it's not the destination.
No. It feels like almost like you're going through a car wash, but you're like being loaded in with love and light and sunlight on your way.
Right? Like I'm being slowly delivered to somewhere.
Mm. And while you're in the queue, do you feel that love inside the physical body?
Slowly seeping in as I move downward.
Mm.
I feel it moving into my legs and my feet, my
Mm.
hands, into
Mm-hmm.
my chest. It's not strong enough yet to be in the core of my body.
Mm-hmm.
I can feel it infiltrating my throat,
Ooh.
and my head is a little light,
Mm-hmm.
almost dizzy, but not.
Mm-hmm. What a gift.
Preparing me.
Say that again.
It's preparing me.
Oh,
the
Who is guiding
polarity.
you today? Who's helping you with this? Can they tell you?
Mm, I feel like it's a collective of many energies.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're all together forming this invisible support or net that I'm being lowered in. Even though I don't see a net, I can see them,
Mm-hmm.
the energy of them. They're all over and above me and like around me.
Mm-hmm.
And they're creating this invisible support system like a net as I'm being lowered down. And they're saying, lower her gently. She's getting ready.
Wow.
And they're like communicating to each other, saying, no, slower. Okay, no, this is good. Oh, a little to the right, now to the left. Lull, like it's lulling me.
This is so exciting. In this collective, it's obvious that we can trust them and they are being so careful and so gentle with you.
The process is to release my consciousness.
Okay. Well, I'm excited to hear all about it. Did they ever do your core? You said that they needed to wait. It wasn't strong enough to do the core of your body.
Yeah, it's filling in.
Oh, that's what they're doing now.
Yeah, it's like an exchange of my resistance to full receiving of all that I can receive.
Mm. Why would you be resistant to receiving?
To be
What
conscious
caused
of
that?
what's happening.
Okay. Can you say a little bit more about that?
Mm, I want to be a part of it. I want to remember it. I want to understand it. I want to learn from it. It
Mm.
gets in the way of being able to let more information come through. And I feel like they're encouraging me to let go and relax.
Less
It's okay.
thinking.
Yeah, and like even like throughout my whole body, kind of puts this resistance in ways and depths that you don't even realize are there.
Right.
Telling me relax.
This is so wonderful, this beautiful gift they're giving you. It's wonderful. And again, it's like we don't even have the words for it. Are things still yellow?
It's
Or has
moving
that?
into a golden color,
Okay.
um, a little bit darker than golden. Not really bright and shiny gold. It's um, all muted.
Okay.
And I feel like they've landed me, but they're not letting go of the support net. Not yet.
Hmm. They know you well. They're taking their time with you. And we have no rush today at all. No rush whatsoever. This healing is so beautiful and more important than any questions we could ask today. Because you are ready for whatever that means.
I'm filling every cell with this light
Mm,
in all my organs and throughout my spine,
mm.
and my skin, my bones, everywhere. It's
Did they
almost
have
like
an, go ahead.
I can feel it like a million tiny bubbles kind of tickling every inner surface.
Okay. So way down at the cellular molecular level.
Mm-hmm.
So would this be a healing or would this be an upgrade? How would they describe it in our lexicon?
This is an initiation and preparatory stage.
Initiat initiatory and preparatory stage of what? For this session? For where they're about to bring you
To receive.
to receive. Now, do you think that this is something that you asked for, or is this a gift? This preparatory is a gift that you didn't know existed, but you're getting it anyway. How does that work?
Yeah, well, they know I wanted to really just let go and be just a conduit. And I feel like this is their way of helping that to be.
Yes.
I see things are starting to change colors. It's kind of like burnt red color.
Mm-hmm.
Not quite terracotta, but this color keeps coming in and out of this golden color
What is the terracotta or the dark terracotta for?
to propel.
Propel. That's a pretty clear word.
I get flashes of like the spinny things on an airplane engine.
Like a propeller.
Is that what those are called?
Yeah. So they just said that
And
they're,
like
yeah.
it's like that and like a sail on a sailboat. Those images keep
Oh, yeah.
popping into me.
Yeah, that makes sense. And they're kind of blowing you into motion.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I get the sense that I'm gonna move somewhere.
Okay. Right. And just wait and just relax because it sounds like this collective really knows what they're doing to help you.
I see a blue color. It's like far away in the horizon, but it's In flashes, it comes in like these flashes of images,
Mm-hmm.
feeling.
Mm-hmm.
The images are a feeling.
What kind of blue is it?
It's like a beautiful sky blue.
Mm-hmm.
Not so not so pale that it's um drained of blue, but it's
Mm-hmm.
like shades of like a sky when it doesn't have clouds, but it's not just one solid color. You can see variations of lighter bits and darker bits, but there are no clouds.
Mm. Yes.
I feel like it's trying to make its way in through this terracotta red color.
It really does seem like, yeah, you're going through this beautiful tunnel of healing. And it's nice and slow and relaxing and comforting. And
I feel like not that anything is breaking, but the blue is trying to break through the red color.
mm-hmm,
But it's not forceful or uncomfortable
mm-hmm,
or scary. So it's interesting to observe what it's trying to break through when there's no sense of any feeling of what the term breakthrough would it imply. It's like sunlight breaking through cracks in soil that would be reaching the seeds to crack open.
okay.
I don't even know if that's possible, but that's what I see in my mind.
Yeah, well, I got an image of it. So you said enough.
And it doesn't feel like the purpose was for that seed to reach the exterior, but for more of the light to reach the interior where that seed is breaking into or growing into,
Mm,
to feed it and fuel it and supply it with its force of, I don't know what, but its force.
mm-hmm. I just got the word penetrating.
Yeah, like the sunlight would penetrate into a seed so it can grow.
Mm-hmm. That's what it's trying to do for you, penetrating to get to the blue.
Yeah, the blue is penetrating.
Oh, the blue is penetrating the terracotta color.
Mhm.
Okay, wonderful. And where are you in this? Do you have a sense of,
I'm the seed.
oh, okay, yes.
And I need to grow to move the dirt out of my way so I can expand.
That makes sense why you got force, because sometimes you have to push it up there. And they're helping you do this?
It's like yes and no. It's not like it's helping as in an assistance. It's helping in that it's growing me so I'm strong enough to do it.
Ah, that's incredible.
Like I can feel inside of me like I have a bigger physical strength, but it's not physical. And I got a strength to do and be and grow and expand,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not in a physical way, even though I'm seeing the seed get larger and sprout. It's through this inner force that
Hmm.
creates the expansion. Like when a baby grows, it physically gets larger as it morphs into, throughout the years, into, in the end, an adult. That seems very physical. And as the body grows bigger, it becomes stronger.
Hmm.
And while the same could be thought of as the seed, but the seed that I'm seeing, it's not in a physical sense, even though it's growing larger in size and it's sprouting and those sprouts are moving the dirt.
Hmm.
The sunlight is growing the inner force, and it's the inner force that is making all the movement and expansions that manifest as a physical growth.
Mm. Well, that does make sense. When a baby grows into even a toddler, there's so much more going on inside that
It's
we can't
almost
see.
like it's like the physical has to grow to expand to keep up with the inner self force.
Okay.
We always think we have to grow into the body because the body is growing. It's the other way around. It's the force that makes the body grow to be able to encompass the size
Hmm.
of the force within us.
Wow. And why are they showing you this?
Shift my paradigm on how I see things, how I perceive the way things work,
Hmm.
to tune into the different aspect. I'm trying to understand what they're I'm trying to figure out how to explain the energy of information I'm getting.
Hmm. Well, you're doing great, so thank you.
To tap inward into that inner force, it expands outward. It's not about the physical at all. Like as above, so below. So within it is without. So like when you go inward and you sense that expansion,
Hmm.
the size is eternal and never ending. It's not about the capacity of the physical body. Going inward taps you into the infinite space of all that is.
So
There are no boundaries.
no boundaries. And there was a question we wanted to ask about the importance of needing to draw inward to receive deeper clarity. And so we never even asked that question, but here they are, not just answering the question, but showing you exactly how it works and growing you.
Yeah, anybody can do this.
Anyone can do it.
They just don't know it.
Hmm. That's what we're going to teach them, right?
Yeah,
I hope.
Yes, yes, this can be shared.
Hmm. What's happening now?
I feel like sun rays are shooting out of me. These sun rays are the rays of sharing the information.
Oh, wonderful.
Like Oprah, and there's some for you, and there's some for you, and there's some for
And
you.
look under your seat, and there's a
And
present.
I don't know why they gave me that image. That's so funny.
Our
Yeah,
guides
that's
are
the
funny.
sun rays are infinite, and there's enough to go around, is what they say. There's enough to go around
There's enough to go around. Yeah.
for everybody.
Hmm.
Nobody's exempt. Everybody can have it. I'm being told that they have to want it.
That's all
We
they need, right?
we can share it.
Hmm.
They can say no, but it can plant a seed, and their seed can grow
Mm.
until they realize they're ready to receive it. Some will just take it readily. Some are ready to take it. Some are ready for it. Some are ready to hear this.
What what do we need to do to be ready to receive it, other than being willing and wanting it?
There's different ways in being ready. There's no criteria.
Hmm.
It's a heart-centered soul awareness. They may not even be conscious of it, but
Hmm.
the soul knows. And so upon hearing it, even if they think that they're not ready or speak, against it, or like crazy, or no thanks, or that's not for me in any way that would look like a dismissal of it.
Hmm.
If the soul is ready, it will grow within them so that it's growing in, even if they don't know it,
That's wonderful to hear,
and continues until they know it.
and
And then when
continues.
they know it, it'll be more conscious and then received on another level. It's like another dimension of, I just got a picture of stepping upstairs into heaven.
Wow. What does
There's
that
no
mean? Stepping
criteria.
upstairs to the heaven, just taking a step?
Like, it's like when
Mm-hmm.
it comes into the conscious aspect of the physical self,
Hmm.
not that it's like, I'm trying to I'm trying to understand how to put into words what I'm feeling, what I'm sensing. It's like climbing another rung on the ladder, a step closer to the
Hmm.
infinite knowledge, is what they're saying.
Infinite knowledge, right?
Yeah, it's representative. It's not that, if someone's on a higher step versus a lower step, or like on a ladder rung or something, a higher rung or a lower rung. It's not a place of judgment, and it's not even a place to assess, really, because so much can be happening on the inside that on the outside consciously it could look like, they don't know anything. And
Right.
so there's no criteria of who's ready and who's not, because
Hmm.
it's all done on a soul level. And so, but once that person can speak to it on a conscious level,
Hmm.
it's a step into their evolution, even though a whole lot could be happening on the inside. And it
So,
can look a million
uh,
different ways.
What does it look like? Can they describe somebody with a pre-birth contract that came in to look like they're not ever going to evolve spiritually at all and looks like they don't want to, but really that was their pre-birth contract that they're playing out here? How does that work?
Right? Just like what how you said it. It's because there's no criteria, quote unquote,
Mm-hmm.
just because it looks outwardly that someone is, you know, far from, you know, being awake or, looks like they're asleep, as we sometimes call it. Um, that's what their path was meant to look like,
Mm-hmm.
and not necessarily meant to look like it's a hard and fast. That can be some situations, but it's not all situations. There are always
Mm-hmm.
opportunities. And through the choices that we're all allowed to make, the outcome can look many different ways, but it doesn't mean that on the eternal soul aspect that we're still not growing.
Mm. Are there souls here among us that don't want to awaken or participate in ascension or being better people or being kind without coming in with a pre-birth contract? Or did everybody agree to play this role here that they're
Um,
playing?
I feel like a lot of information is coming through and it's hard to
Well,
weave
that's
through it all. Um, Let me see if I can. I'm trying to put these into like their own slots to separate the different thoughts. It's all like
it's a
all coming in
complicated and
together.
very loaded question. I was afraid that I didn't even
Yeah,
ask it correctly. I'm
and
glad you understood. So,
it's not unanswerable, but
yeah.
it's my limited physical self is trying to separate all this information at once. It's like alphabet soup. I'm seeing alphabet soup. All the letters and words and information are in there. And if
Yeah.
you just take a spoonful of all of it, you don't see a word, so it's not clear, you know?
Right.
So
Right. Right.
I'm trying to sift, like the information is coming in like these rays of light, like this light information, and there's varying colors, and these different colors are the different answers and different topics of, like for instance, the blue colors and the green colors and the yellow colors, which are all meshed together to make, this beautiful array of, you know, unorganized rainbow,
Hmm.
but it's all information and I can see and feel it all. But I have to separate like threads, like a basket of threads. These are the blues. This is the answer to one part of that. This is the green. This is one answer to that.
I was going to say, like, it
The
reminds me
yellows.
of pickup sticks, but
Yeah,
I
that's a good one.
like
That's
the
a good
pickup stick.
one.
Would you like to
That's
pick blue since we have a question about blue?
nice. Let's go there. So yes, there are pre-birth plans, and yes, some agree to never fully wake up, but also that doesn't mean the soul isn't evolving. Yes, some people don't come in with a plan. That one's a little messier, I feel like.
Hmm.
That's yes, it's for a purpose for them, but also yes, it might be more for the purpose of other. And through that service, it is a purpose for them, even though it's not a purpose for themselves and their soul's exploratory journey.
Okay. I have
So it's
heard
like a
that
yes to
before.
both of those.
So say somebody has comes in and offers to be, disfigured or disabled in some way. They're volunteering for that is a service in and of itself so that other people have an opportunity to engage with that person.
Yes, it grows compassion and love. It makes making me emotional for the truth and the depth of love that is encompassed in that service. That, you know, you meet people and or they you,
Yeah.
however brief or however long, it's very purposeful. Every meeting is very purposeful. And
Hmm.
there's a takeaway, and their service is to gift us a greater compassion and awareness, whether it's a softening of the heart or whether it's to help us fulfill being of service. You know, that was part of our plan of being here. Or I feel like there's more information to it that they're not quite letting me see.
Mm.
It's much bigger. It's much bigger. Some of them come in for the experience of understanding limitation. Um,
So then that would be a pre-birth contract. Do what about the ones that don't choose a contract with, like, how does that work if they don't have a contract? And are they, could they be so disfigured and disabled, like just kind of thrown into that situation? How does that work? Or people without pre-birth contracts are kind of living, meat and potatoes lives.
like a look of the draw.
Kind of like, I feel
Let
like,
me just
it
let me
better.
just jump in and see what happens. Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, I'm wondering, like, if you don't have a pre-birth contract, if you didn't agree, like, listen, I want to go down there and be in a wheelchair, you know, for my entire life. I plan on living until I'm 42. Are you ever
Mm.
just told to do that? Or yeah, luck of the chance or those types of
No,
lives?
no,
Okay.
everything is free will. Everything is free will. Nothing is forced, ever.
Okay.
Nothing is forced. So even if you have hesitancy to it,
Hmm.
you still know what you're getting into and you still agree. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here. I'm being told to liken it to, or it's not unlike when your soul is ready to step out and be done, your life will be done. But if you're still here, then there's some deeper soul aspect of your soul that is still engaging in the process. Um,
Mm.
you wouldn't be here if you didn't want to be. You wouldn't have come in to breathe in a body and live a life, whatever that looked like, if your free will, your free agency hadn't said yes on some level.
Okay. So then with the pre-birth contracts, what kind of people are here that didn't agree to contracts?
Um, there's nobody for free will. You agree to it. No
Okay,
contract.
I
You
thought
agree
they
to it.
said something about some people here didn't have pre-birth contracts. Maybe I
That
misunderstood.
the way I'm being shown it to hopefully add more clarification is the contract. There's always a contract.
Mm-hmm.
You agree to the life and whatever that'll look like, but the intent of why you come may not be for yourself, for your purpose to want a lesson or awareness or anything, but you may become as in service to someone else or many other people for whatever your interaction of your life with theirs had a purpose.
Okay.
That would
Okay.
be their contract. But it may not have been for them that they chose that contract. It could be to serve others for the reasons they need it.
That makes a lot of sense. So, and those contracts are made with your soul family, or your soul family makes up those who have made that contract?
Both. There are some who come into soul families that they are not originally from. Um, those ones come from, I'm seeing like a light attached to that soul entity. Like I'm seeing like a soul family or like a pot of lights. If you see like a pot of individual lights, and each one of those lights represents a soul that incarnates in a body, but they're all in a pod together, inferring that that's the soul family.
Mm-hmm.
And some, as we would call them as humans, individuals, their soul is not from that soul family, not from
Okay.
that pod. And I'm seeing that their light is extending from far, 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 far away. So they've come in to either experience something specific that this pod, um, soul family pod,
Yeah.
has to either offer, or they've come in to be of service to this pod,
Mm-hmm.
soul family, for things like, well, I'm hearing light workers from beyond the extension, from a different level. No judgment of hierarchy, but I mean, I can't think of a different word to describe. It's a different level,
Mm-hmm.
um, to bring awareness. Um, and they had to go somewhere to do this. They come to be of service.
Mm-hmm.
But also there are some that are like explorers or
Okay.
observers. So some come to observe and explore, like gather information and knowledge, but
Okay.
more come to be of service. So they're not from the soul family, that pod, but they bring the essence of consciousness on a higher level
Okay.
through being.
Interesting.
And to incarnate, they had to go into a soul family pod somewhere. And all of the pods have, I'm sensing, all of the pods have these. They're definitely outnumbered compared to, the amount of lights within the soul pod.
Mm-hmm.
Numbers are smaller in comparison, but,
Mm-hmm.
and
They
I'm
just have more
seeing,
light, essentially. You
and
can,
we all have light because we're all from source.
yeah, but they have a bigger piece of the light for whatever reason.
Yeah, it feels like um a brighter light, like more full of, what is it? I feel it's so complicated how not to say words that inflict hierarchy.
Mm-hmm.
More experience, more light, more strength, more energy, but not that the others are less than, but it's in a way that the others haven't experienced yet.
Okay. So would this be
Right.
akin to, well, not, wouldn't be like a Jesus or a Buddha or an ascended master, but we aren't ascended masters. Why? Because we haven't had those experiences yet, but we could someday. So in that way, we're not judging in a hierarchy as better than or worse than, just that we're on this journey at a different time.
Yes. And like the Buddha and Jesus, and they would they would be dimensions. What's the word? You.
They would
They're
be
from
dimensions.
they're from higher dimensions,
Okay.
coming into the lower dimensions with their experience and brighter light. But some of these are even,
Did I lose you for a minute? Or are you waiting?
I'm here.
Okay, there we go. Some of these are even. Can you say that again?
Oh, some of these are even farther away, like the trail of light from their seat of light, I see coming from far, far, far away. And so when I ask, well, where did like Buddha and Jesus come from? They're not as far. That light isn't as far. It's shorter. And
Interesting.
I feel like they're trying to show me, they're trying to tell me like it's a different dimensions, a different level.
Hmm.
So the typical or average, we need better words. This isn't helpful. The
Right. We.
typical human being, human experience from the soul, this pod, this soul family.
Mm-hmm.
The light for like Jesus and Buddha are shorter.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they're longer than the typical human. Let's just say it in
Right.
this way, but understand there's no hierarchy or judgment to these.
Yeah. Yeah.
There
That makes
are
sense.
other souls that are dropped in that come in and incarnate to imbue in similar ways, but seemingly so benign. Like you would never, they would never be known on a level like Jesus and Buddha. But they've come from far, far away. Like their tail of light is like eons from higher dimensions, other galaxies, somewhere out in the multiverse, far away, that they're like, oh
Hmm.
my gosh, let's go in and jump in and just through their presence of existing, they exude this um, ability to aid others in growing and feeling, and on a soul level, it aids their journey.
That is fascinating. So now I want to know what those people manifest as here. Not necessarily like more than what do they look like, but are they the ones that are homeless or addicts on the street?
They could be anything. They could be a nurse in the hospital. They could be a judge in a court. They could be a bishop in the church. They could be, you know, like you said, a homeless person, or
But not
they can be
necessarily a person struggling like we were
no, they
talking
don't,
about handicapped and stuff. Just
not, no, not, no, not necessarily
okay.
struggling. That all comes with that pre-birth plan, having an
Okay.
idea of what it could look like what their goal is to achieve, and how
Mm-hmm.
they want their life to be presented. Um, but do, they're not the only ones, just not just because all of these people struggle with depression or anxiety or addiction or
Loss.
physical
Right.
ailments or anything. It's harder to function because we forget where we've come from. We These higher energies that come through, just like
Mm-hmm.
the rest of everyone else, they risk forgetting who they are. They don't come in with the memory and knowledge of who they are.
Mm-hmm.
And through the course of life and choices and encounters and just existing in the 3D existence,
Mm-hmm.
there can be an element of soul loss that makes life a little harder to deal with. Like the physicality can be so dense that it can cause the body aches and pains, and that can be unbearable for some. And so that translates um, in a soul loss, and that can cause depression and not remembering why they've come here. They have, no idea that they've wanted to be of service, but it doesn't mean that
Right.
they're still not, because
Right.
there's always the opportunity, no matter the choices you make, the opportunity to fulfill your purpose can occur. It can just look in very many different ways. So,
Mm,
like meeting someone, they're showing me someone with AIDS, you
mhm.
know, the caretaker of that person, if that person was, that light worker that came to be of service in a soul expanding way for the souls around them,
Yep.
one could look upon them and say, oh, you have AIDS and you're suffering and life must be so hard and I feel so bad for you. And they may also have that state of mind, forgetting why they've come. But for instance, say the person who is compassionate to care for them, I mean, they could even be an uncompassionate person, but the person who's caring for them, there's that interaction, that unseen interaction that is occurring on a soul level, that their soul is imbuing that other one with growth and love. And so it doesn't always have to be made aware on a conscious level, the blessings and gifts. It still occurs deeper within. Um,
That's fascinating. It's coming to mind, Westworld is coming to mind, that TV show where we're kind of playing these characters, playing these parts, and then, in this amusement park of experience, right?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. What did the guide say about that? And that we're waking up. We're not playing the roles anymore. We're waking up and remembering who we are. And
Right. Yes, that is occurring, and that has to occur. Um, not, it has to occur to a degree to keep up with Gaia and her evolution and her ascension. She's been around for a very, very long time, and she has reached her cycle to evolve and to have essentially population evolve with her. They have to evolve, and this awareness and this consciousness, this waking up is occurring so that those who are consciously waking up and evolving are progressing and will progress with her as she moves over into her full 5D. Those who don't on a conscious level doesn't mean that, so on a soul level they're not, but for the duration of this life, physical life in this incarnation, they
mhm,
won't evolve to that degree with her in this incarnation, but it doesn't mean that the next one they won't have the opportunity to. That's an assessment to be made post carnation,
mhm,
or post incarnation.
mhm.
Um, but
When you,
if she weren't evolving, the awakening wouldn't be happening so strongly as we're seeing in these days.
okay, so this is another parallel with, the body is expanding because of the inner. So we are expanding here because of the earth, not the other way around,
Correct.
where we have to keep up with her earth because she
Yes,
is ascending.
yes.
Okay.
And it's multifaceted. And depending on why you've come here, some have come to be a part of that ascension. Some have come to say, well, I'm still at this level of where I want to keep gathering information, and my exploration of that looks 3D still. So, um, they can, depending on where they're at in their evolution of exploring or whatever their purpose is in their, those observers, or, um, they're still newer to the game than more experienced. Um,
Mm-hmm.
their purpose may not be to ascend with Gaia at this point. Doesn't mean it'll never happen. It just means at this point.
But they're not going to. How I'm so curious about how the people who are more 3D, as you put it, are going to experience let's just say the month of April and all of the astrological shifts and occurrences that are going to happen just in 1 month.
What is the question of the 1 month? Can you repeat that?
The people who have come here not to experience to experience the ascension as an ascended person or on the path to ascend with Mother Earth. How will those people that did not choose that path experience the month of April, next month, with all of its astrological happenings and events? Because it feels big to me, but I could be wrong. And please correct me if.
It may be seemingly nothing to them. There's such a spectrum of ways to experience it that
Mm-hmm,
it's not, you know, one side versus the other.
mm-hmm,
There's a spectrum, and just because on the outside it looks like someone may not be awake or on an ascension path, it doesn't mean that their soul isn't on a path. So there's varying degrees of how that can be seen and viewed. Some could just experience it as everyday, mundane life. Nothing is shifting, nothing is different, nothing is off. It's just a
interesting.
trajectory of the world. And to them, that could just be how they think everybody sees it. They don't know any different. What you see on TV, what you read in the papers, what you hear on the radio, what you have conversations with people around you, their existence is around exactly as they see it. What you're able to see and perceive and what you pay attention to is what you will see, perceive, and pay attention to, and
Mm,
there's varying degrees. It's like having the flu. Some can have the flu and it can kick them off their feet and they are in
right,
bed sick, but someone else can have the flu and they can be like, yeah, that was like, I mean, that wasn't fun, but I was sick, but no big deal. And everything in between, you
right,
know,
right,
there's
right,
so many layers of experiences and evolution and minute details and contracts that it can be perceived so vastly. It's not a, you know, white versus black. There are millions of shades of gray in between.
right. And
And so instead of asking, I'm being prompted to share that instead
mhm,
of asking how will they perceive it versus how we think we'll perceive it, because how we perceive it in all the glory that we think we've been gifted to be exposed to, there are some who perceive it still in greater ways than we can even comprehend, and we just don't even know it because we don't know them, you know?
yeah,
Or,
we don't know what
yeah.
we don't know.
So the question is more, how can I be perceptive to all those shades of gray so I can grow in greater awareness and appreciation and compassion to the greater all that is?
Excellent. Now, can we have the answer?
It'll look a million different ways.
So okay. So first of all, are there changes coming in April that are really unique at this time in this planet and that we will look back on and say that changed a lot for us, Gwen and Jody?
Gwen and Jody.
Yeah.
They're not liking to give a yes or no definitive answers. Again, I'm seeing multiple facets of varying degrees of what even just Gwen and Jody will perceive. Because some days they're sharing the information with me. Some days you can have a day where you feel completely detached and low vibration, and you think, ugh, I'm in a slump. I got to get out of this. And that can be moment to moment.
Right.
And
Okay.
each varying, and then, like, okay, so they're showing me, say we wake up feeling kind of, things not so great. I'm feeling a little emotional. And it
Mm-hmm.
builds up to a cry, and you just cry it all out. And then you feel like you're on cloud nine.
Right.
Just within a span of that could happen within an hour, right? And
Yes.
every moment can be a, I don't know why they said rainbow, but like a rainbow has different colors in it. You can be within all those layers of that color within an hour and end up in a completely different spectrum than you were where you started when you were feeling seemingly perceived as awful. So, in every moment that these celestials are moving, depending on where you're at or where maybe you put yourself according to reacting to, say, a partner who pisses you off
Mm-hmm.
versus being able to have avoided that, even for Gwen or Jody, you or me,
Mm-hmm.
there's no answer to say what it will look like for us because it is up to us where we're at in the moment it occurs, as with every other person, which is why there's million degree spectrum of gray in between the black and white.
Okay, I'm gonna have to listen to
So,
that again.
so they're saying if we were to give you a definitive answer,
Yep.
the chances of that being your definitive answer, they're not giving me a percentage. I'm trying to ask them for like a percentage. Can you like put it into terms that our brains can comprehend? And they're like, it's so much bigger than that. But the chances of that definitive answer occurring because you want to hear a definitive answer
Mm-hmm.
is one in many. I'm seeing like a checkerboard of, so if you have white on one side and black on the other,
Okay.
and however many shades of gray that can occur, starting from the lightest to the darkest, and it's this square board with, it looks like a million varying shades of gray,
Mm-hmm.
gradient from light to dark.
Yep.
We could give you, they say, one definitive answer that you may want to hear, but that doesn't mean that's where you're going to be in the moment that the celestials are in that position. You could be anywhere on this checkerboard. So to answer the question, what will that look like for you or me? That is up to you or me.
Interesting. Because I was told that I would be in my kitchen at the sink.
And there is a chance that that could be. That's not
Okay.
untrue,
Right.
but it's also not the only true possible answer.
Well, all I'm very excited about exciting things happening in April. So wherever I am, I'm looking forward to
They're,
it.
they're saying the awareness of, I'm trying to ask them, like, can you like simplify it for us? We like simple answers. Like, we like definitive. We like predictable. And they're like,
Yeah,
well, it's up to you that it could look like that. We're not saying it won't, but we're not saying that that is the only way it can look. It could
right.
also look these other ways. It just depends on how you look at things. And every choice you make, every thought you make, every feeling you experience, you have the choice on where to be. And that takes practice, but it's the awareness that this is an option, that in every moment, in your every now, how do I want to be in this moment so that I can experience the greatest moment to come in every moment that there is to have when these moments come? Golly, that was a lot of words. Did that make
That was beautiful. That was beautiful. So, does Gwen have one? How many pre-birth contracts does Gwen have left to fulfill? I feel like her role in the shift or these celestial events is one she should be excited for. Can you talk about that a little bit?
how many are left?
Kind of just give us a peek into Gwen's pre-birth contracts at this time in her life moving forward?
I feel I feel like they're showing me it's not a checklist, so to say, but it's like a checklist.
Okay.
Not like check that's done. Check that's done. Now I've only got so many left. And I don't know if this is just for me. Is this for me or is this for everybody? A lot of contracts, you say, can look like some things are ongoing. Like there's no way to check it off because it's an ongoing evolution of what that contract idea looked like.
Okay, that makes
So
sense.
you can't just check that one off and say, okay, one less to do because
Right.
and so I'm seeing on this clipboard holding this checklist for me, there's a lot of those. So those can never be checked off until, well, I check out.
hmm
So I'm asking if they can simplify this.
Or um, it feels like, when you were going through that tunnel of the yellow sunshine light and they were preparing you for something, it feels very much like you are being, or we are being prepared. For example, doing this today, gathering knowledge and information for this changing world, right? So, what is Gwen preparing for in terms of a pre birth contract of things that are coming in the future?
Okay. So I feel like this is a more clear answer than what they've been offering because they're saying it can look like the future can look like anything depending on the choices made by each and every one of us, both individually and collectively. So it's not a hard and set future outcome to say this is what it will look like,
Mm-hmm.
but the evolution will occur that things will look, again, perception. They keep saying it's perception because when I want to give it a word that defines it, they say it's gradient. It's the perception is so different that it can look hard and difficult and scary and sad, like if you were in a war zone. But also you could find, they're showing me like this really elderly, feeble man who maybe has lived so much of his life to begin to appreciate that the end of his life could occur. And looking back on everything he's experienced, he could have joy in his heart. And even though some people are running around saying, oh, bombs are, he's like, I've had a full life. This is okay. I'm ready to go. And he's happy for that.
Right.
So the hard and fast what things will look like, depending on where you're at and where you can hold yourself through all the choices and feelings and stuff can be easy. And this transition can look smooth and trying or smooth and peaceful or all of the in between. And what I'm being shown is a little more definitive for my path in it. I've come to be of service in holding that path of light, to hold a space of love and joy, provided I choose that. I could also choose to just freak out and be like, this is so hard. Oh. Or if I choose to remember, they're saying like right now, this in a moment like this, and these messages being received, if I can draw back inward and if I can bring that peace in, I will retouch this moment or any other moment, say in like meditation or joyful moments with loved ones. And the memory of all that is good and all that can be good and perceived as good, even through what can be perceived as bad for some, you tap into that energy and that frequency and you become it more. And
Mm.
if I or you, they're saying you too, not just, it's not just limited to you and I, but in this moment, they're saying even you too, your perception and experience of how you continue on and what you have to offer, tap into that inner self, soul level, which will connect you to the all,
Mhm.
and it will bring you into a higher vibration to be able to fulfill the reasons you've come here for in those higher ways. To shed light, to share love, to hold that higher vibrational space that they're saying imbue it, you imbue this, and so that others around can tap into and help remind them of these parts of themselves as well, if that's
Mm.
in their soul contract to be a part of,
If it's in their soul contract to be a part of.
right?
I
And
love that.
they're saying, remember, just because on the outside it doesn't match what you think it should look like, it doesn't mean on the inside things aren't shifting, and that's their journey. But you're vibrationally offering that space for that soul level growth to occur.
Mm. It really is beautiful. We really are revolving around love and light, even if it looks dark.
It really is true. It really is true.
Yeah, like down at the core, it's all about love, and improvement isn't the right word. It's growth, but it's even more than that. Yeah.
They're showing they're like in this big circle around and above me, like a, I don't know the actual definition of a tabernacle, but this word came through like a tabernacle
Okay.
of this energy. They're like, I don't know if they're physically holding, I don't even know if they're physical, they're not really, it feels like, but I'm getting a vision of them holding their hands out. There's like, I don't know, hundreds of them.
Oh.
Um, like imbuing their light onto us as we have come here to imbue this light for others.
Mm.
Oh,
I do feel that so strongly. Like we are so protected and guided.
yes. There's like 200 or 300 of them, and they're all in this beautiful blue light essence.
So,
Like
are those the blue light of love that we were going to ask about? What's
they're saying we are a part of it. We are a part of it. There's, it's so much bigger than them. They're the ones that have come to share with us today. And the parts that have shared themselves with me separately has been a smaller part, more personal part to me. Like a force or a front. And I'm
what?
trying to understand what they're saying. They're like, there are better words, and I know that there are better words, but all I can think of to offer is like they're a front or a force, almost like an army, but not that they're fighting,
Right.
but holding space to bring this in.
To bring in blue light of love, or to bring in the energies that we need to help Gaia, you know, transform.
both,
Okay.
both to bring the blue light forward, but not that it is something that needs to come forward to be known as, like Jesus was born and he came forth to be known as the savior of the world. It's
Right.
not like that, but it is an element to aid us. Um, but it's also the energy that they hold that we can refer to simplify as the blue light of love
Okay. And you,
for
Gwen, have a
communication.
special attachment to them, it seems.
Yes,
Yes. In what capacity did you meet them or first come into contact with the blue light of love?
they're saying it's from my soul comes from far away, like back to that tail of light to
Mm-hmm.
imply a distance, a different dimension, a different, it's like I'm seeing like celestial rainbow colors in this
Mm-hmm.
space of
Yeah.
where I'm trying to ask if this is where I came from or if this is where I was when
Oh, yeah.
I
Yeah.
connected with the forces of Blue Light of Love,
Yep.
because I feel like, I don't know, it's coming through in steps. It's,
Well, I'm very grateful that they are here
yeah,
with us today. Very grateful. Thank you for showing us all of these things.
yeah, they're saying it's so big and expansive. It's not easy to describe for us to
Mm.
understand.
But that's quite a bit, knowing that either you met them way back there on that long string, as you put it, that distance, or you are from there. Either way, that connection, that gives us a really good idea of the
Right.
connection.
It's showing me like multiverse. Many away, I'm seeing layers and layers of universes away.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's so interesting.
So you are, would you be considered a wave of a volunteer that came here specifically for the shift?
Yes.
Yes. And the waves of energy, what can we expect in terms of the waves of energy coming into Earth?
Oh, beautiful. Mass, mass love is what they're saying. Mass
Mass.
love. And it's like this big wall of almost like you get, enveloped in a blanket and you see the blanket coming and you're like, oh, that's gonna feel so good because I'm so cold and it's so cozy and that's my favorite blanket.
Yeah.
And you see it coming and it's like slow motion. But when you have the awareness that it's there, you're like, oh my gosh, this is so good. Yes, 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 hurry up. This is great. Fold in, fold all around me and you just are ready to just be covered up in it. That's
So
what they're showing me that will come
it's
over us.
really coming.
That's, that's what they're showing me. Yeah.
Wow. Now, would these waves, the waves of energy, come from stars? Is that how it comes?
Mhm. That's a good question. Let's see if I can understand them.
Like we've been talking about Betelgeuse, where there's comets, there's eclipses, all of that kind of stuff. And the only way I can make sense of all the information and put the puzzle pieces together is if it comes from like bursts from a star.
It's not that simplified.
Okay.
They're showing me different planets, different stars, different elements, different. energies and beings, like grid work,
Okay.
all over the earth, in the earth, outside of the earth, and all the dimensions. It's not one thing that will do it. It's several things that all take part in this. They're showing me mm, like cross stitch. You can't create the full picture of depth and beauty without multiple colors in different sections to create the whole mural. That's like a tapestry. It,
Mm. Okay.
it takes several different pieces and locations to create the wholeness.
How about just
Those-
what we will focusing in on what we will see in our lifetimes here?
They're saying a session like this is a part of it. It is actively occurring through sessions like this, through
Yes.
inquiring in your own mind about these things. It brings in more. You're literally making a difference and bringing in that energy, acts of kindness, um, services of meetings, gatherings, meditations. We're all part, and no part is bigger or less important.
Right.
So a star bursting and creating a new amount of energy isn't any more important or greater than the act of service of kindness to a phone call to a friend who's maybe got a broken heart. It's
Mm.
all just as important. And that as it occurs more and more, the celestials are helping and the stars are sending off energy and the planets and the unseen aspects of gravity. They're saying gravity. All of these have a part to play. It's not just one giant blanket, but it's growing stronger, that it will become more obvious, that it will feel like the blanket is closing in on us because we're able to perceive it.
Mm.
And just like those who may never perceive it doesn't mean it's not happening.
Right.
So it's not simple to just one big event and you're like, whoa, it did it. Look, it's here. No, we're all a part of it. It's all these bits and pieces, but our awareness of these celestial events that are occurring and the awareness that it can bring that in enhances our perception to grow that even more.
So I should probably work on my patience, right?
I see them do this. There's there's no words, it's just this. So take that as you want. I'm feeling I don't I feel like that's not
Yeah.
my place to
Yeah. I
see
mean,
what that
every
means.
time I ask, and they're like, when you ask and when you're a seeker, it's like, I'm a seeker and I want to know and I'm interested and I know that that's helping, but at the same time, I have to be patient and just do what I'm supposed to do and talk about this. Yeah, it's just so fascinating. And
They
these
they
sessions
are
are,
sharing with me patience shifts the vibration
yeah.
and impatience shifts it in the opposite direction of the inquisitory aspects of yourself is what they're sharing. The inquisitory aspects of yourself coupled with patience
Okay.
blossoms. They're saying, like I'm seeing a flower open, it blossoms and blooms into more, to the bigger, the beautiful.
Okay. I feel like I've been working on that quite a bit. I know that I have
They,
more
they
to
just
do.
they just
Huh?
shifted their color went from like to agree. It's validation. They shifted their color from blue into this hue of pink love to
Yeah.
you as you said that, when you acknowledged you're growing and you're getting better. They just validated that. They wanted me to tell you that.
Oh, good. Thank you.
Showed
Because I
me that.
really
Oh,
am, I struggle. Like, I want to know, like, surprises in general for me, like a birthday surprise. I'm like, please don't do that. Like, I'd like to know either I'm having a party or not, basic. So yeah, it's been always a struggle having patients. So I wonder if there's anything more that Gwen can know about her celestial heritage other than it comes from a very far place away. Well, actually, we're not even sure that that's celestial, right? What about your specifically celestial heritage?
They're showing me uh, these rainbow light colors, and so the word light being came through. Um, and they're saying that's enough.
That's
I was,
enough.
I was a light being in this space that is imbued in multiple colors. That's all I can see. Like they're just
Mm.
showing me that the atmosphere of this location, whatever that means, this location, quote unquote.
Maybe
Um,
the far distant
I
location
was,
that they showed us before?
yeah, it's that same one I'm seeing in another, like many universes or galaxies away.
Okay.
I don't, they're not specifying. I'm just seeing and feeling this great distance to imply far from here.
Mm.
Um, and a different dimension that encompasses this peace and this beauty and these celestial colors of pinks and yellows and blues and whites and silvers, like everything. It's just everywhere. And I was a light being. And, and they're saying that's enough to know.
That's
Like,
enough.
like,
Oh,
not like that's enough. It's not like that. It's just like, and that's it. Like, what more do you even need to know past that? Look at that.
right.
That's, you know, like this.
Right. Well, I love that. So please thank them, the blue light of love, for coming in our session today. Like, honestly, with so much love. And if they would return someday and talk to us, we can
They
touch.
did this. They did this. Yes.
So beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. And so now we ask them and Gwen's higher self to recede to where they belong with much love and information they have been giving us today.